And we continue learning Dirshu Mishnah Brura Hilchais Hasuda Siman Kuf Ayin Dalid. Wrapping up the halachas of Yayin, we are up to Sif Ches. Says the Machaber al Yayin on the wine Shebisayich, that is during Hamazayin. Even if you're all eating together, everyone should make their own bracha. Says the Ramah. What's the reason you can't answer Amen? Why? You're in the middle of eating. Says the Ramah. You can't talk when you're eating. Can't say Amen. Says the Mechaber. It's all one din. The Ramah here just adding in the tam. What's the problem? If you talk when you eat, we have to be worried that yaktim kana leveshet, the food will go down the wrong pipe. Cannot talk when you're eating, and therefore do not be mitzi. Someone else in a bracha during a Seudah. Why? Because then they're going to have to answer Amen, which they cannot do. Says the Ramavi, if you say Savri Rabbi say, listen up. V'yishmu, and they listen, v'yechavnu lebracha, and they have in mind to the bracha, v'loyachlu az v'yanu, amen. They don't eat, they answer, amen, achad, v'varech lekulam, then you could do that, v'chein, noigin, that is what we do. V'yomer, Savri Rabbi say, ratzoleimar, soivir matem, lotzis bracha zu. It's a question. Do you want to be yaitze with this bracha? Don't say bershus, that you're taking permission. You're asking them if they want to be yaitze. And everyone knows that before Kiddush, Savrim Ranan, Rabbanon Rabbi Sai, or Savrim Ranan. What's going on? Now we understand the words of the Heilige Ramah teaching us that Savri is that you're not asking Rishos, you're just reminding them and telling them that if you want to be Yaitse, listen up. So let's have the Mishnah Berurah explain this din. Says the Mishnah Berurah, Sivkot and Mem, Afilu Isiba Yachat, even if everyone is indeed sitting together, still you should not be Yaitse one another in the bracha, Ratzalaymar, like we normally say, that if you're sitting together, one could indeed be to the other, mighty the other. And it's better for one person to be yaitse, because then everyone is bringing one bracha. You have a roivam. But a bracha middle of a suda, you should not do this. Just to parenthetically mention, this is always the balance of mitzvah. It's better to do a mitzvah yourself. But on the other hand, you have the concept of roivam. You have the concept you want to do everything together. That is the balance between making a bracha yourself versus having someone else being yaitze you, etc. But over here, you're in the middle of a meal, so you can't do it. Why? Because you cannot say amen. So if got to memalv, says Mishnah Berurah, lanes amen. Even though we normally hold listening is like answering. Says Mishnah Berurah, we know that answering amen is not ma'akev. Le'inyin lotzes be'abracha. Still, meaning, you don't have to answer amen. So what's the big deal? Who cares in the middle of eating? Says Mishnah Berurah, it's a balabatish kshash. A yid hears in a bracha, you say amen. And you're in the middle of eating. And it might cause you sakana. Fascinating. So in reality, you didn't have to answer this amen and you'll be yaitse. But the reason you shouldn't have someone else make a bracha for you during the meal is why? Because you're just going to end up answering amen and it could cause a sakana. Says the Mishmur Sevgatim and Beis Mishom the Chayshinan. Hainu Mishom the Aiskin Azbachila. What are we chayshes? Because at that moment, we're dealing with eating, vein beis apali apanik, and your throat is not empty. According to this opinion, even if you stop eating and you prepare yourself to hear the bracha v'lanas amen, we're worried. According to this opinion, according to the Mechaber, does not help to try to stop. Why? Because Lamaisa, you're in the middle of a Seudah and it can bring a sakana. But The reason is because you're busy eating. So the first reason was sakana. Can't get out of it. The second reason is you're not listening, you're not focusing. And you do indeed listen, then and also the secondary issue of sakana, they're also not concerned about. Why? Because once you stop to be mitzi, then you will also not be eating, and therefore you won't have the potential sakana issue. So then Echad Mevarech Lekulan Sif Katan Mem Daled says the Mishnah Brura. Usricha sheyitamu kulam taking the akais, you'll have to drink from the akais. Le'av sigu ben abrach l'shtia. It reminds the Mishnah Brura you can't be mafsik between the bracha and the drinking. V'yomer savri Rabbi Yisai sivkatam emhei rata leimar. Be'bracha shebzech asu the geshachem levarcham mitzi kulam. One person is being mitzi, everyone else. Lo yomer b'shos Rabbi Yisai. Don't say b'shos. Why? To lashon zeh, you know, ela l'netila rishos levarich. That's when you're getting permission. That's by benching, for example. Rabbi Seiver Bel benching, there it's more of a, well, we'll have to see, but there it's ostensibly more of a rishus. You're taking permission to bench. Ella, as the nusach itself says over there. Ella over here, Savri Rabbi Yisai, you're telling him to stop eating, and to listen. Call Marcus, if Katam and Vav says Mishnah Brura. Anytime you're being mighty to your friend, says the Mishnah Berurah. Ubechopa bres mila she'inagin leimer savri klal. Hu misham derak makom shezach lantilas rishos oimrim aliyayin savri makom rishos. V'chopa mila she'inagin rishos. In leimer savri klal, you don't have to say savri at all. Ein oimer rishos zegatan mem zayin. Pirush. After really, it doesn't make sense. Say Rishos says Mishnah Berurah, because you're telling them, do you want me to be yaitzi, or can you be yaitzi with me? Because you have to tell him to stop eating. Therefore, we say this nosech anytime you're being yaitzi. You're being mitzi, someone else. So for one moment, let's wrap up this siman with a few dirshus, I thought. One dirshu over here. Dirshu number 47. Only one little dirshu. And then we'll call it a day, and the next year we'll begin with Kuf Ayin Hey. Then what's the problem? Going to come to Sakana. This is the reason why Shlomo Zalman says one should not talk in the middle of a meal. Why? Because you could go to Sakana. Very basic. Be careful. We take our lives very carefully. We'll pick it up from Siman Kuf Ayin Hey in the next year. B'siyata Dishmaya.